Hey, so today's lesson is going to be on order of operations. So order of operations, we have our definition here and we have our 4 steps right here. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do right now is actually take out your notebook, the notebook that I asked you guys to label yesterday with your table of contents and page numbers. So here is my table of contents, which is literally on the front page. I didn't label this front page, that way I can just start on page 1. So my first concept is going to be on order of operations. So go ahead and write your order of operations and the page number that you can find it in, which is page 1. So once you do that, turn to page 1. And when you turn to the first page, title what concept you are working on. So we're going to be working on order of operations. Once we're done, we can make it all fancy, highlight with a bunch of colors. But for now, let's just go ahead and write our definitions down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write all the information that you see here. Cool. As you can see, I wrote out the entire definition, so I'll just read it to you guys, which states the order of operations, and I'm actually going to underline it and I'm going to box it in. The order of operations is a rule that tells you the sequence to follow when you are performing operations in a mathematical expression. So in a mathematical expression just means that we have integers that are telling us what operations to do. So in this case, an example of an order of operation can be, like I said, integers. So we can have 4 squared minus 5 minus 2 plus 1. This is an expression of an algebraic expression. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to re-understand PEMDAS. So I'm sure most of you guys have heard of this abbreviation before. So what we're going to do is we're just going to write it in our notes. So I'm going to write in capital letters. So capital letters as big as possible. And I'm actually going to make it going down so that way we understand what to do. So for P, we're going to say parentheses. And when you get into Algebra 2 and pre-calculus, we're going to start using another abbreviation. Instead of P, we're going to be using G for grouping, but because of Algebra 1, parentheses is the most common grouping that you're going to see. So I'm going to pause here and I'm going to have you guys just write down PEMDAS and write their explanations. So now that we took the time to write out all of our definitions, so first I wrote out P and I just went ahead and I highlighted it and I wrote parentheses. And so right next to parentheses, we're going to have these little symbols right here. So when I have these little symbols, it means that I need to do any operation that's inside of here. So I'm going to write an example. And this example is going to be, let's say, 5 minus 2. Well, I'm going to do the operation that's inside. So that means that I'm going to have parentheses 3. That's it. Always do the operation inside of that parentheses. Second is exponent. So what an exponent is, so let's say that we have 3 to the power of 2. So this is my exponent, and I'll write EXP for abbreviation, and this is my base. So it's basically telling me that I'm going to multiply my base times itself twice. This exponent is telling me I'm going to multiply my base twice to itself. And that means I'm going to have a total of 9. Always do parentheses first, then exponents. Next, this is going to be a little tricky one. Whenever you're left with multiplication or division, what you need to remember is that you're going to go from the left to the right. Let's say that we have an operation that looks like this. 2 times 3 divided by 9. Cool. So here's the thing. I know that I can do division here, and I know I can do multiplication here, but here, 3 divided by 9 will give me a really small number times a 2. That's going to give me a really different number if I go from the right to the left instead of from the left to the right. So when we're in a situation like this, what I want you guys to do and remember is that you're going to go from the left to right when you only have multiplication and division problems. So in this case, I'm going to go 2 times 3, which will give me 6. Divided by 9. Since I just came up with these numbers on the whim, it didn't come out to be a whole number, so that's okay. That just means that I'm going to have 0.666. When you round that up, you can just say 0.67, right? So next, it's the same idea, but now addition and subtraction. When you have an addition and subtraction problem, it's the same idea as multiplication and division. You're going to go from left to right. So an example of this, and I'll just write example right here. An example of this can be 4 plus 2 minus 1. I know what 2 minus 1 is. It's just 1, and that's just going to give me 4 plus 1. But remember, when we're left with operations that are just addition and subtraction, we're going to go from the left to the right. So that means we're going to have 4 plus 2, which would give me 6 minus 1, which will give me a total of 5. Okay? Pretty straightforward. And if you still want another way to remember about PEMDAS, always use a saying, and I'll just write it here on the bottom. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And that's how I remember it. Okay? So what we're going to do next is we're going to do a couple of practice problems. So now we're going to work on some practice problems. Before we actually do the practice problems, I want you guys to get in the habit of writing down your abbreviation for order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. There you go. So we're going to use that abbreviation. So taking a look at question number 1. Do we have any parentheses? Yeah, we have parentheses right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this little arrow, and I'm just going to do the operation. It says 4 times 10. So 4 times 10 is 40. And if you don't know it off the top of your head, it's totally fine. You can always use a calculator. I have this TI-84 that I've been using since high school, so I just put 4 times 10, gives me 40. Cool. Next, so I already did the parentheses. Now I have an exponent. Looking at what I have left here, the only one that has an exponent is at 9 cubed, or 9 to the power 3. So 9 to the power 3 just means 9 times 9, which is 81, times 9 will give me 729. So that would just give me 729 right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring everything else down. So I have 4 plus 40 times 3. And if you want to keep this in parentheses, that's totally fine. But for now, I'm going to multiply anyway, so it's right there. Oh, and I forgot to write the addition. Cool. So now taking a look at this, the only other operation, so I have an addition, a multiplication, and an addition. According to this, I have to do multiplication before addition. So I'm going to take another color just so you guys can see. I need to multiply this out. 40 times 3, that's going to give me 120. So bring everything else down. 4 plus 120 plus 729. Now, all the operations I have left are all addition, so I can just go from my left to my right. So that's going to give me 120 plus 4 plus 729 will give me a total of 853. So my answer for this expression is just 853. Right? Pretty straightforward. Question number 2. So it states that I need to do the operations that are in my parentheses and that they are in my parentheses. So here's a tricky one. I actually manipulated this expression to put 2 parentheses side by side. Now, here's the question. Do I do this operation first or do I do this operation first? Here, when I have 2 parentheses side by side, that means that they're multiplying. They're not doing anything inside. They're just multiplying right next to each other. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this operation here. So I'm going to have 10 plus 6, which just gives me 16. And I'm going to bring everything else down. You want to get in the comfort of just doing one operation at a time. Next, I have an exponent. So 10 to the power of 3 will just give me 1,000. So that will give me 1,000 right on here. Bring everything else down. Right, so now I have addition, and multiplication right here. So that means I'm just going to do my multiplication. That means I got 14 plus 1,000 plus 16. Just add everything together. 14 plus 1,000 plus 16 will give me a total of 1,030. Sorry, I put that comma in a weird place, but 1,030. We're going to continue on. We're going to do this fairly quickly. So subtraction, addition, parentheses. We're going to do parentheses first. So that's going to give me 30 right here. So bring everything else down. And so now I have subtraction, addition, when you have subtraction and addition, you go from left to right. Always go left to right, because if you don't, you're going to get a different answer from what I'm going to get. 5 minus 3, well, that's just going to give me 2 plus 8 plus 30. Continue on going left to right. 2 plus 8 gives me 10 plus 3. 10 plus 30 will give me 40. Right? That is your answer. Next over here, this one looks really complicated, but it's not. It's telling me to do the order of operations inside my parentheses first, right? Now, when we have a different operations inside my parentheses, you still got to use the same order. So there's no other parentheses inside, but there is an exponent. So you got to do the exponent first and then do left to right. So what we're going to do is 10 to the cubed. We know that's 1,000, so I'm going to write 1,000 minus 9 plus 8, and we have plus 3. Oop, times 10. So inside my inside my parentheses, I'm going to do is the order of operation. 3 plus 1,000 just gives me 103 minus 9 plus 8. And that would just give me a total of 1,002 times 10. So now you can just leave it without the parentheses or with parentheses. It doesn't do any different. So we got 1,002 times 10. That's just going to give me 10,020. Okay? That's my answer. Last two in here. Remember, we have a parentheses. We got to do the order of operation that's inside my parentheses first. So in this case, I'm just going to bring down that 3 plus. And so here I have 2 divisions and one addition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from left to right, but doing the divisions first. 32 divided by 4 will give me 8 plus 15 divided by 3. I already forgot about the 4. 8 plus 4 and 15 divided by 3 will just give me 5. Let me do this nicer, and I know I screwed up already. 3 plus 32 divided by 4 just gives me 8, so I'm just going to cancel it before I do something else on. Plus 15 divided by 3 will just give me 5. So now left inside my parentheses will just give me a 13 plus 3. 13 plus 3 will just give me 16. There you go. That's what I get for going too fast. Last, in this problem set here, remember we got to do my order of operations first, so I got to do my parentheses. So bring down that 10. And in my parentheses, I got an exponent, then multiplication, and then addition. So let's do our exponent first. Plus 100 times 6 plus 10 divided by 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the operation inside my parentheses. I know that 100 times 6 gives me 600, plus 9 will give me 609. So I'm going to have 10 plus 609 plus 10 divided by 2. Cool. So now the biggest operation I have is 10 divided by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is just 5. 10 plus 609 plus 5. So now I'm just going to combine, or not combine like terms, but I'm going to go from left to right in addition. 609 plus 10 just gives me 619. Plus 5 will give me a total of 624. And that is it.